What are the best Nintendo Switch games out right now? Well, I made a list. Number 10 is Lynx Awakening. This game is beautiful, and it was originally a Game Boy game. It has some limitations on the Game Boy that just kind of didn't make sense, such as the fact you had 2 buttons, which you'd think the game would be designed around, but sadly it just isn't. So you end up going into the menu, swapping out your items, and stuff that really should just be baked into the moveset just aren't. But this remake takes everything that was wrong with it and tightens and polishes and fixes it up. It adds a fair amount of new content with the dungeon reshuffler, so you can basically play infinite dungeons, although it is just tiles of the dungeons you've already made reshuffled. So Ni no Kuni. The whole game is designed to look like a Studio Ghibli film. You know, the people who made My Neighbor Totoro, Spirited Away, which Spirited Away was the only anime ever to win an Oscar, and I mean, just by looking at it, you can tell this isn't just your average anime game. There's no massive tits for no reason. The game is tasteful, and it has a brilliant story with all the fantasy elements. It's like a Disney film come to life in a video game that isn't super confusing. I'm looking at you, Kingdom Hearts. Studio Ghibli hand animated a lot of the big important story cutscenes, and the fact this game came out on the PS3, it just looks great. The story is amazing, and I'm very picky about RPGs. However, I love Ni no Kuni. It's got me addicted, and it's a beautiful, touching story. So I recommend you play it. Metroid Dread, how I really wanted to love you. It had so much that looked so promising. From the big world that you dynamically explore and gather new stuff, and the art style looks brilliant, really detailed. There's hardly any sharp polygons anywhere. It looks great. The bosses are difficult and challenging, but every death feels like it's your fault, because the movement system is so tuned and polished that it does just feel really nice to play. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury is an incredible game with some of the tightest level design I've seen in a Mario game. The level design very much mimics 2D gameplay in a 3D space, which is really cool and acts as an excellent stopgap between the new Super Mario Bros. Series and games like Mario Odyssey. And that's made even more of a point by the fact that Bowser's Fury is there, which kind of acts a little like a DLC for Super Mario Odyssey. It's really cool and allows you to do some real awesome stuff because it unlocks the movement system to a much greater degree and gives you a bigger sandbox environment to play with. And that's something I really appreciate about it. And sure, the transition between 2D and 3D is only really necessary for people who only really have ever played Candy Crush before the Switch, but it's cool. For all its crazy hype and the fact it took over the world, the game is missing a lot of features. At the time of launch, it was missing like a lot of the core things that made Animal Crossing Animal Crossing. It didn't have swimming, or Brewsters, or paintings in the museum, but it did have an overhauled customization system and crafting, which I famously hate. But it had a really well done customization system. It is a really cool game, and I put my 300 hours into it. It has a beautiful art style. I just wish it had all the stuff it had now at launch and then had DLC, because it launched basically unfinished to the point I was genuinely annoyed by it. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the fighting party game of the decade. It's really cool, and the first time I had it, when I initially bought it, I invited all my friends over, we ordered some pizza, we played Smash Brothers. It was awesome. It's one of those games that when me and my friends need to kill time, we'll all whip out our Switches and play Smash Bros. Ultimate. I usually bring Joy-Con straps just in case someone's like, Super Smash Brothers. I will take on anyone and I will lose to everyone because I suck at the game. But it's fun to play. Unlocking a new character feels like a big hype-filled event. I unlocked Luigi and I went, yes! because it's really cool. Just the way it handles it. You could be playing a match and then it's like, hey, go beat up Meta Knight. And the person who won the match goes and does it, and it's like a really cool reward. And it gets everyone like hyped up, like, yeah, you can do it. So if you're looking for a multiplayer game and you already have Mario Kart, this is definitely the one to get. Sticking with multiplayer, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Actually amazing. The mechanics are brilliant. Drifting feels sharp and responsive. The controls feel perfect and on point. The track design is genuinely awesome. And the graphics look like stuff coming out today, even though this game is an enhanced port from the Wii U that released in 2014. 2014? For God's sake, Nintendo, release Mario Kart 9. But it's in the news again because we're having DLC. And sure, the courses don't look brilliant. And I wish Nintendo was doing a less of a lazy job where they're just porting it from their mobile games. But the mobile game tracks are basically new tracks because no one plays Tour. And the retro tracks are awesome because honestly, having retro tracks, they're some of the best in the game. Gusty Garden Galaxy, I hope we get Waluigi's Pinball. We're getting Coconut Mall. Splatoon 2. You knew it was coming, it's me, I love Splatoon. But this spot is probably going to end up being swapped out for Splatoon 3. But it's the lore and the single player story that keeps me coming back to Splatoon. Every song in the game is tied to a fictional band. Like, oh my god, Nintendo, you didn't have to go this hard. There's like religious books, and the rewards for exploration are more lore in the single player. The DLC for Splatoon 2 is actually amazing. Just little challenges that once you've done so many and gathered these 3 things, you go on this massive escape sequence and then end up in just the most insane final boss with just insane amounts of lore sprinkled in. Oh, it's just actually amazing. Now this and number 1 was definitely gonna be a hard one to rank, but I've decided to put Breath of the Wild at number 2. It revolutionised open world gameplay. It showed us stuff that we didn't think was possible with its physics engine, which takes all that hyperreal physics stuff people are doing in VR these days, gets rid of all the clunk, puts a little bit of a spread of arcadiness on it, and goes wild. People are still finding new and crazy things to do to this day. If it was between Breath of the Wild and Breath of the Wild 2, I would still buy Breath of the Wild 1 because the story starts there. Super Mario Odyssey, my god, this had the most hyped up launch. It was so cool. People were waiting in line at the Nintendo store for weeks. And the best part is, you kind of got to go there in the game. New Donk City was like New York, which made you feel more tied into the Nintendo community through like this crazy thing of, oh wow, in game you can go to kind of where the launch was, or be kind of in that area. It's really cool. And also, you get to fight some of the most unique bosses, all the way from like rabbits who are obsessed with hats and their wedding planners, to a literal Dark Souls dragon. My god, Nintendo went so hard on this game, and it won the awards to prove it. From like a ghost hat that can possess objects and animals, to just travelling the world, which I know is a lot of people's dream to do. It's a dream game. It's absolutely amazing, and that's why I'm excited for Kirby as well, which you should definitely check out. So yeah, that Kirby's kind of a bonus, but Odyssey is awesome. It was the biggest launch since Halo 3. The game itself is amazing, and I don't think the Switch would be the console it is now without Super Mario Odyssey. Well guys, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, like, and maybe share this video with someone who's just bought a Switch and are looking to pick up some new games. They'd probably enjoy it.